My face currently feels like I've been run through by Tom Stewart.
Puts it to the top of the square. Oh, beautiful little fist in there by Dale. Crucial centimetre moments.
He definitely has a bit of the Belcho spirit. As I have a bit of the Belcho spirit.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the podcast that wasn't particularly shocked that a 20-something-year-old Australian was trying to buy cocaine in Europe now that the work part of their trip is over. This is The Back Pocket, coming to you again late on a Friday because life is too busy to record on time. That said, we did watch Trap instead of recording last night, and it might be one of the only pieces of media lower quality than this podcast.
Honestly, I might have preferred to do the podcast.
Yeah, it was... The Trap was being in the cinema and being forced to listen to M. Night's Daughter's mixtape. Anyway.
That's the worst movie.
And I had terrible tummy today after eating that much popcorn in one sitting and not having a real dinner.
Just because you're weak, man.
Yeah.
I burnt the roof of my mouth. What am I
you
talking
did.
about?
You got home and you lit your mouth on fire. Who was your one vote this week?
Why am I giving out a vote, Jack?
Oh, well, because we're doing the Scarlett Silvagni Medal. 5 through 1 votes for the best defenders of the week.
Yep, so my one vote for the best defenders of the week is to someone who I don't think we've featured this year. Okay. Maybe you have, I don't remember. Mason Redman gets one vote for me for his game.
Mason Redman was my very unlucky no voter.
No votes. Well, you don't get a stat for that, Jack.
Yeah.
He was I think he was the highest rated Essendon player. I can't remember.
I think he might have been. He got a couple of coaches votes as well, I think.
27 disposals, 7 marks, with 2 of them being intercepts, which was a game high. Seems strange. 8 marks total, 2 spoils, 5 rebounds, and what are you fucking doing? It's a professional podcast.
Yeah, extremely.
I thought he was good. End of.
I also thought he was good, and they really needed him to be in. Yeah, they were good for a change.
The Bulls back, maybe.
Horns.
Horns
I
up.
did the horns. This is an audio podcast. My one vote was to Jack Henry, who I've talked a lot of shit on in the last few weeks, but he's had a couple of good games, and this one was a more important game for him to be good in. He only had 12 touches at 91%, but he had 8 intercepts and 5 contested, 7 marks, 4 of those were intercepts. Kept Fogarty to 1 goal when their forwards were looking really dangerous. Had 6 spoils, 2 rebounds, and 7 defensive foul pressure acts. I just thought it was a really good game. Probably his best for the year. He had a really down year on his normal form.
It's been pretty average from
and especially
Henry.
in the second half when De Koning went down, it was important that he maintained the way he was playing, and he did.
What is the story there? What's the injury?
Apparently, it's that same corky he got behind the knee the week before. He's just hurt it again.
I don't know.
For some reason, St Kilda.
For some reason, I don't believe Geelong when they say shit like
Me
that.
either.
My 2 votes goes to Brandon Zirk-Thatcher from the Port Adelaide Football Club. They fucking dominated Sydney.
Didn't they just?
Outrageous. He had 13 disposals, 9 kicks, 4 intercepts, 2 intercept marks, 7 marks total. He won 3 of his 4 contested one-on-ones. I'm not even speaking words. He had 7 spoils. I thought he was quite good.
Yeah, my 2 votes was to a teammate of his in Dan Houston.
Yeah, fair enough.
He had a 19.2 player rating and 2 coaches' votes. I think he's finally arrived. Like, it's finally the Houston people thought he was going to be for a few years.
Just in time to ship off to another club.
Just in time. With 4 years left on his deal because contracts mean nothing anymore.
Nope.
He's probably All-Australian this year, if we're being honest. 24 disposals at 83, 6 intercepts, 2 contested, 12 marks. He had 6 score involvements and 5 score launches, 491 metres gained. I looked at his heat map and I thought it was really funny because he definitely did play a true half-back role, but because Port dominated so much, most of his disposals were over halfway. That was just the ball was just up that end.
That's what happens when you score, 94-0?
Yeah, he was really good. Cricket score was 1 for 72 at lunch.
3 votes. My 3 votes goes to Jeremy Howe from the Collingwood Football Club.
He was very close to me. He was very, very good.
He had the most rating points for a defender on ground, 20 disposals,
15
with
spoils, wasn't it?
18 of them being kicks, 15 spoils, 5 intercepts, 4 marks, 9 marks total, and didn't lose a contest. Thought he was really good.
I thought so too.
Back. Thought Darcy Moore was decent, but I don't think Darcy Moore would have played as well unless Jeremy Howe was playing the role he did.
I think that it's amazing that we mentioned a few weeks ago when they dropped Frampton after finally getting Howe back, and we're like, why would you do this when you could have 3 talls again finally? But yes, I agree.
Oh, I made a mistake. Jeremy has my 4 votes.
Oh, no. All right, well, I'll move him up, and we'll get to your 4 after my 3.
It's a professional podcast.
It's very professional. Let me erase the 3 votes there. My 3 votes was to Jeremy McGovern.
Okay. Well, let's
is
just
that
go
your-
all out
is
of
that-
order. Jeremy McGovern's my 5.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. All right. Let me...
I wrote down all of Jeremy McGovern's
Yeah?
stats.
All right, roll them off.
No, I don't want to do it now.
Right.
You've already done it.
All right, Jeremy McGrover.
He had 21 disposals, 15 kicks, 595 metres gained, 10 intercepts, 3 of which were marks, 4 marks total, 5 score involvements, 1 loss from 3 contests, 6 spoils, 9 rebounds, and most importantly, West Coast won.
And he was clutch in that second half. Yes, he was very, very good. So that's your 5, my 3. Who was your 3?
Harris Andrews is my 3.
Harris Andrews. And now I've got to do a 4 and 5. That's going to be, hang on.
Yeah, that's alright. You can do that. Do you want me to give Harris Andrews
Give
stats?
Harris Andrews stats.
You don't have him in?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Harris Andrews, 18 disposals, 15 kicks, 8 intercepts, 7 of which were marks, 14 marks totals, no losses, 6 spoils.
He was good.
It's hard not to be good when you
they're
win by 100 points.
Yeah. My
4.
4 votes was to Jackson Archer.
Who? No, I'm
Jackson
kidding.
Archer.
I really like Jackson Archer.
You gave him another name a couple weeks ago to be a dickhead about it. You could have like Cooper Archer or something.
No, that's Jackson Harvey. What are you talking about?
Much like Riley West, maybe his dad was right to crack the shits at the coach because
Did he?
he's been really good this year. Yeah,
I didn't see that. He's been really good.
20 disposals, 8 of them were intercepts, 6 contested. He had 5 coaches' votes for that game as well. 8 marks, 4 intercepts, 3 rebounds, 12 defensive half pressure acts, 4 score involvements and 2 score launches. Richmond gave him a bit of a fright, and they held off, and much of it was due to him really locking down. So,
we don't do this award, but if I was doing best new defensive rookies, I would have him in my top 5 new defensive players for the year. Which is maybe something we can do another week, but I think he's been really good this season.
we're coming on close to the end of the year, so it's a good time to. And my 5 votes was to someone who you mentioned not getting in was Darcy Moore.
Yeah, I thought you might, but
I just think, and Kerno goal was the first time
That's-
in 2 years. Obviously, Frampton and Howe helping for a change. Like if he'd had that all year, maybe he would have been playing significantly better football. He still had 11 spoils, won both his one-on-ones, and not only won them, like not only didn't lose them, he actually won both of them. They were both contested marks. There was only 2 marks for the game as well. He had 1 score involvement. It was a score launch, 5 rebounds. He was good. So.
Yeah, I just thought the role that Howe and even Frampton played were more important. But I totally understand how you can give him 5 votes, and I think it's fair.
You already voted Redmond. My other special mentions, obviously Howe, involved Bailey Dale, Jack Buckley, Jacob
Bailey Dale
Weedon.
it's so hard not to include Bailey Dale because he plays so well every week. It just feels like standard.
But they just monstered Melbourne. So it felt hard to say that he was as significant a part of that as some of the other players were towards their team wins. Will Powell and Nick Newman I also had in there as well.
Yeah, Nick Newman had a good game.
He really did. Quick thoughts on the weekend's games. Bulldogs Melbourne.
It's been so long, Jack.
There was
What's
another
a
game
Bulldog?
on, and it was better. It was West Coast
Footscray
Gold
played.
Coast.
Who's the Bulldogs?
Sorry, yeah, they're the Bulldogs again this week apparently. They changed it back straight away. Footscray won good. Apparently it was the exact same margin as the grand final they were celebrating
Really?
when they beat Melbourne.
That's crazy.
70 years ago or something.
AFL's rigged. They've been saying it.
West Coast, Gold Coast. West Coast, good. Gold Coast away. Ooh.
Yeah, it's really shocking. They've swung the axe and gotten rid of Lukosius this week.
That's a crazy one. Surely some teams like, hey, but you want to... Melbourne's got to be in there, don't they?
They just need forwards.
Jack, do
They'll
you want to be
take
a centre-half
anyone.
forward? Jack, do you want to... We won't put you at centre-half back, centre-half forward, wing, midfield, full forward every second week.
I think he's been playing centre half.
He has been mostly.
But yeah, Gold Coast pretty shocking away. It's really.
Yeah. West Coast were genuinely good in that last quarter, though. Credit to them. North Richmond...
Richmond are 3 years behind North on a rebuild, and that's shocking because they're below them.
Yeah, it's concerning that they obviously have a dearth of young talent. They obviously Gibcus, if he ever gets back on the park and stays on the park, is obviously very good, but they've got a lack of young talent there, and if they trade away all their picks, so all their old players, they risk northing themselves. But if they don't do it, they risk not being able to get any young talent when Tassie comes in. So they're in a really awkward spot at the moment, I think. Geelong Adelaide was a surprisingly good game.
Yeah, it felt a bit like a slightly more defensive version of the Essendon Adelaide game from the week before.
Yeah, and if Geelong had put away their chance in the first half, it might not have got so close, but Adelaide really stormed in that third quarter, and it kind of felt like they were going to run away with it. Until
First
Jeremy
half
Cameron...
score was 7-5 to 6-3, so what, those extra 3 scoring shots?
I'm not talking scoring shots. You didn't watch Jeremy Cameron do what Jeremy Cameron did.
I know what he does.
Collingwood Carlton.
That was a rough one.
Yeah. I think McGovern should have been off with an HIA when he took that kick, but...
I agree, but hey, you can't win them all.
I really enjoyed Cripps being so pumped for everyone involved in that play, like getting around everyone while McGovern was lining up for that. That was really good
And
to see.
I don't know if you saw him, his words post-game directly to Mitch McGovern and the whole group were pretty good. So, you know, I still have some hopes for Carlton, but
if they won, it was
task.
if they won, it was a get out of jail job.
Oh, yeah.
Port Sydney. Whew.
It's the most outrageous win of the year. Can I say that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very fair. It's
And-
the most a team on top of the ladder has ever lost by this late in the season.
Great for my tipping.
Um,
I'm clear
it's
on top,
like,
baby.
They've set a bunch of records now. So it's like the most a team on top has ever lost by this late in the year. Mm-hmm. It's the most a team has been held to 0 at halftime, or like at that late in the game, like with the other team that high while on top of the ladder. They also have the worst X weeks of form for a team on top of the ladder.
I was going to say
3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 weeks. It's the worst form of any team on
Are
top
they
of the ladder.
1 and 5?
Yeah.
Over the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, so like it's weeks 1 through 7, because obviously the last 2 is influenced heavily by how badly they lost.
Yeah.
It's the worst form a team's ever been on top of the ladder, 1 through 7 weeks.
It's crazy, but their early wins in the season have just held them on.
And everyone else kind of bed-shitting a little bit around them. Like there's so many teams in that cluster that had they not lost games they shouldn't have, probably could have gone past them by now, but haven't. GWS Hawthorn.
Yeah, tight buttholes.
I thought that game was over, and GWS found a way to get it done. Essendon Fremantle.
That was a game.
Fremantle, defend in the centre when you're...
Oh, it was outstanding. I watched the replay again. They just let them walk out.
It was the exact same way that Essendon walked out the week before. It was the exact same centre play. Like, aren't there teams that study... Like, obviously Essendon missed that one the week before, and it didn't win them the game. But, like, aren't there people that study that thing? Like, anyway.
You think with a midfield as good as theirs is, they would be able to put on a defensive block in the fucking dying minutes of the game.
I had to watch the last quarter of that game later, because midway through the third quarter, we went out for a walk with Brock and AJ, and AJ
Shout out Brock and AJ.
Shout out Brock and AJ. And AJ said, "Oh, I haven't checked the score," because he does that about his own team all the time. And I said, "Oh, don't." Because the last time I checked, Fremantle was 6 goals up late in the third quarter. And then I checked the score for him and went, or do, I guess. Essendon have won by a point, which is insane. Anyway, last game of the round, St Kilda Brisbane.
Yep, next.
It was like the first 3 quarters of the last time they played for the whole game. There's no next. That was the end of the week.
Yeah, no, that's... the week's still going. I have to work tomorrow.
Yes. And tomorrow, Sydney and Collingwood will play. What a nightmare game to pick.
Sydney have to win this game.
Sydney have to win this game. They have to win this game.
If they lose this game and drop from first position, if they don't play a home final, their season is probably the worst top 4 season
I don't know
ever.
where they go. Like, I don't know if they've got a Kerno's farm. I don't know if it's like Heaney's mum's Bondi apartment. But apparently they all went away from the club for a couple of days to regroup and...
Can't say that on the podcast. Jesus Christ. Yeah, well, they took they had 2-3 days off or something.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a team as bad as them in first quarters. Like, I don't
It's been all
understand
year,
how a
right?
team that can score that heavily and play that free can't score. They haven't scored a goal in the first quarter in 3 weeks.
I saw something like how when they win, those midfielders like average 6 goals, and when they lose, they average 0.1 goals.
Yeah, well, that's part of the thing they said this week, is that they're working on ways to stop people from effectively tagging and blocking Heaney.
Don't you have like the world's most insane midfield? Like, wasn't that Essendon 2000 all over again, we were told.
Well, they're still racking up possessions.
Brisbane GWS.
What are we doing? We're talking about next week's
Yeah.
games. Oh, do we do that?
Yeah.
This is important for the ladder.
If I wasn't
gonna say that about every
already
game.
sure Brisbane were going to win, the fact that GWS are playing Lockie Keefe for his first game of the year as a standalone ruck, I'm now convinced Brisbane are going to win.
Oh, yeah, Briggs is out. I did say that. Well, yeah, Brisbane are pretty much going to win every game for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They're going to finish top 2, if
including
not top.
finals. Yeah.
So I have them currently as my pick for the Premier.
Mm-hmm. It's very funny that like pre-season they were everyone's pick for the Premier, and then start of the year everyone's
I
like,
feel
what's wrong
like
with
we
Brisbane?
were on the ride pretty early.
Yeah. And then now here they are.
All right, I'm going to go through these very quickly. North and West Coast. North will win this.
No Barras.
Easily.
North in Hobart. North easy.
Yeah. Fremantle Geelong.
Freo should win easy, but
No Tracy's huge.
is it the Freo that turned up against Essendon and Hawthorn, or the Freo that turned up against Sydney and Bulldogs?
Again, No Tracy's huge.
Enormous.
He's
been...
I read a stat that he's the second most efficient target to goal player in the comp.
He's only 22 years old as well, which is mental.
Yeah.
Essendon Gold Coast.
I mean, Essendon should shit this in. If
Absolutely.
they lose this, that's embarrassing.
It would be very Essendon for them to lose it in the same way that winning last week was very Essendon.
Melbourne Port, that's a horrible tip.
No, probably no Gawn, no May.
Oh, then Power will win that easy.
Yeah. May's ribs are completely cooked. He should not have come back. Apparently, he made them worse. And did you see that photo Gawn posted of his foot yesterday?
Is it purple?
It's like purple from the ankle down.
How do I see that?
He posted it on the internet.
I'm going to go look that up while you're talking to me about other stuff.
Carlton Hawthorn, important game for both clubs.
It's probably the biggest game of the round.
It probably is. That and Freo Geelong are like really finals shaped. Like that shapes possibly making finals, and Geelong Freo shapes top 4.
Yeah, it's insane, but I'm pretty confident Hawthorn are going to win.
And then Richmond St Kilda. If no one's been turning up to Richmond games already this year, playing St Kilda is not going to help. It is at Marvel though, so maybe Saints fans will go because Richmond fans sure won't.
Is Dusty playing, or is he retired
Dusty
effective
has
immediately?
Retired effective immediately.
Oh.
And I saw the words, he will be presented to the Richmond crowd. And I was like, you're going to like pass him around?
Oh, you know that scene from Shaun of the Dead where he's at the window and they pull him to shreds?
The crowd just gets a little bit of Dusty to take
Yeah. I think that's what the Richmond Ferals deserve.
Adelaide, I wrote Footscray. Adelaide Footscray.
Well, Footscray aren't playing this week. The Dogs are. Fucking get with the program, man.
Sorry, Jesus.
Look, Adelaide getting Rankin back is huge, and they have actually been playing well.
It's a fascinating game.
They obviously the Essendon game was a iffy one, but they lost to Geelong, who are top 4 bound by 5 points.
And they really stuck it up to them too. Like it was,
so I reckon they can push it with the Bulldogs. And is it time for the Bulldogs to falter? Because
it would be very Bulldogs of them.
I can't see them keeping up this run consistently. It's just not Bulldogs.
I did see Bont.
He's going to have 40
so 35
and
and
kick
5,
3.
right?
Yeah.
Like he under an injury cloud, that means big game. So yeah, game
He
of
had
the
the
round.
flu and he had 33 disposals and 3 goals.
It was like 30
He hurt
rating
his
points or
back
something.
and he had 35 disposals.
Yeah. Jesus.
I'm captaining him
Brisbane
in
GWS.
fantasy.
No, Sydney Collingwood. That's my game of the round.
My game of the round is North West Coast. Because if West Coast can win that, huge.
Enormous.
They'll sign the coach.
Sign Schofield will be a terrible idea. I was talking to Tim about it today, and I was like, I love Schofield. I've heard him, like, he used to be their guy they used to send out to, like, ABC Radio and SEN to talk about team structure from the coaching unit. And he talks really well, and he clearly knows footy, and he loves the boys. But you don't put the interim coach in as coach. You just don't do it.
Loves the boys.
Loves the boys. Doesn't
He's
love...
watched all 4 seasons.
He has. I even liked the latest season from start to finish.
Stupid fucking bit.
Wildcard round is stupid. And also, more importantly, not a wildcard round.
We
It's just
already
a top
do
10.
wildcard round. The last 3 or 4 years... Going back to that one where like West Coast shitted in, or was it Hawthorn? I can't remember. Shitted into 8th. Like, we already have wildcard round. It's called round 23/24.
Wildcard round, like if you're being technical, would involve like the bottom 10 teams playing a round robin tournament to see who gets to play into finals. This isn't a wildcard round. It's just a top 10 final system.
It is, and it's also going to just make it harder for the bottom teams of the ladder to fucking win a grand final.
Taron Thomas should never be able to play again. That's all I want to say about that.
I heard that apparently the St Kilda membership lines were bombed.
So I've only had 2 experiences with St Kilda fans on Twitter this year. One was them telling me that Ross Lyon's not a terrible coach, which they changed their mind very quickly about. And the second one was all of them being like, yeah, we actually agree if Taron Thomas comes to the club and not buying a membership again. So that was good. I appreciated that from Saints fans. Fuck Taron Thomas and Garby Allen, is that who it was?
Graham Wright?
I don't know. Whoever it was.
I don't know, I'm just making up names.
Hawks case continues to bubble away. More court information was released this week about the stuff Stuart Rioli was saying about the distress and stuff it caused them. It's just still ticking along, and Clarko was like, I just want to talk to the federal court about it. Okay, do it.
No, he said in the media, and I quote, if it was left up to us, it would have already been solved, but these legal eagles keep it going.
Pesky lawyers and human rights commissions. Jesus. Under 22 team released, which is technically a 22 and under, but
yeah, I did it. I was shocked at all of you.
It's a pretty quality
picking
team.
One key defender and Weddle.
Yeah,
none of you picked Draper.
I didn't pick Draper or Dempsey because I felt like I overrate them.
Ollie Dempsey's probably going to fucking win the Rising Star.
Yeah, but that's because people have. He's Bradbury, the Rising Star.
Honestly, he's okay.
Darcy and Reid are.
Reid would be below Dempsey right now.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd probably have him above Darcy just too.
Since he's come back, definitely. Darcy's very good.
You're talking about Darcy Wilson?
Yeah, I'm talking about Darcy Wilson. Jesus.
Yeah, it's interesting. No Richmond players again, which just shows their dearth of
Essendon players, and
that's less bad.
I agreed with that, and I said so.
Is Perkins 22?
Yes, he is.
Oh,
21 actually.
Oh, he should be in the list.
But he's not good enough to be in the list. He had 4 good games to start the year and then vanished. So I posted it talking about the Richmond thing only. I was
None of you picked Euland either. You guys are fucking crazy.
He was very close to me.
You picked rebounding defenders. You didn't pick a single lock.
I was like, is it good to be bottom of the ladder and have no one 25 under 25? And Rowan Connolly, who's obviously famously an Essendon fan, how did your team go, fuckhead? Said no Essendon ones either. And I said, well, I'm willing to forgive that because they have 3 of the best under 25s going around in Caldwell, Durham, and there was someone else I had in there. But I can't remember now. But I was like, that's there. And then Footy Charts came in and said, yes, but they have under 22 currently 5 top 10 picks, and none of them are in there. And
yeah, but it's the first season really seeing Nate Caddy.
Yeah. Caddy, if he'd played a full year, probably would be in that squad.
I guarantee he'll be in that
Sardis,
next year.
They're just not playing, despite him dominating in the VFL.
Hobbs is not best 22.
Yeah, so there's... I think it's less alarming.
Zach Reed's injured.
So
they've got youth, they're just not playing them or / they're injured. Yeah. So,
and Nick Bryan didn't play enough games either.
Which is less concerning than, the Campbells and Sonsies of Richmond who...
Steely Greens, yeah. Their best 2 are probably Tom Brown and Steely Green,
Steely Dan,
yeah. Danny Green.
I can't believe his name's Tom Brown.
It's weird.
That shouldn't be allowed.
You can't have another guy just come in and have the same name.
Yeah, I agree.
How do you reckon they felt when...
I think they should...
Nathan G. Brown got drafted, and they're like, we already had a Nathan. Too many Nathan.
I think it's silly when you have the middle letter.
Just Josh P. Kennedy. Is it always the younger that gets the middle letter?
No, they both get it.
Yeah?
They did both for the Kennedys.
What was the other Kennedy? Because we remember Josh P. Kennedy.
F?
Maybe. JFK.
Surely
not. Surely he wasn't JFK.
Josh Kennedy, West Coast. Oh, he's Joshua James Kennedy.
Oh, JJK. Oh. Can't escape it.
That's a dumb bit.
The one person who listens to this watches anime will understand what we just said. Maybe it's Nigel. Nigel, ask your son what JJK is. He'll know.
Don't fucking do that.
I think that was all I wrote down for talking points.
I don't have anything. I watched some footy news today and went, oh, nothing happened.
They've got nothing to talk about.
Martin retired, Hawkins retired, Gaff retired. 3 legends of the game.
It's funny, the Gaff one, right? Where, if he hadn't punched a teenager in the jaw, so hard that it required reconstructive surgery. He might be classified as an Eagles all-time great because he would have had the flag. He is their fifth all-time games player. He's had 5 top 5 best and fairest finishes. But he missed that and then hasn't been the same player since. And instead is just going to be brushed aside a little.
It's unfortunate, but maybe don't punch an 18, 19-year-old kid in the head.
Yeah. Like, because even if he hadn't hit the head, I feel like that was my thing I said at the time. I was like, with how hard he clearly threw that punch, even if it did hit the collarbone, he's probably breaking his collarbone.
Or his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, or both.
It's a shame.
Yeah. Women's footy starts soon.
More things
It's
to
like
pay
3 weeks
attention
away,
to.
I think.
When are you starting your all-women podcast?
Well, I can't be on it. Greg can host it.
You used to be a women.
I put my cat on the mic.
This podcast is burning out so hard.
Look, the season's burning out. It's too long. We don't need more rounds. We need less rounds.
I think we should just play each team once.
When the new team, if 2 new teams come in, we just go down to 19 weeks.
I agree.
And then just leave it at that.
And I think at worst, like, people will want the rivalry round. Because you can't... People will be like, oh, Collingwood and Essendon have to play twice. Richmond and Essendon have to play twice. Like, it doesn't have to happen.
Geelong and Hawthorn have to play twice when they're both good.
It's... And what do you even do for rivalry round? Who does Collingwood play? Carlton or Essendon?
Yeah, there's some that are like that, right? Like,
Who does St Kilda play?
GWS have a significantly larger rivalry with the Bulldogs than Sydney.
And I'm fine with that.
But then who does Sydney play?
West Coast.
West Coast. Then who does Freo play?
Port.
Who does Adelaide play? St Kilda. Beat him in a grand final. That's all I've got.
We nailed it. We're so good at this.
Who does North play?
Tasmania.
North plays... Oh, yeah, because they stole their vibes. North and Gold Coast both play Tasmania in a weird 3-on-3.
Well, it's rivalries evolve and change. Like right now, North and Hawthorn is a rivalry because of their coaches. So it's hard. But yeah, I think if you play each team once, that's fine.
And it makes the season plenty long enough.
And it makes it fairer.
And we can give more space to the women's season, which it desperately needs.
The only people... It probably... Maybe it disadvantages... No, it wouldn't disadvantage interstate teams. Because they'd probably travel less.
Traveling technically less, yeah. Especially if you have the rivalry round, right? Then they're having one extra game at home compared to away. Like, yeah. I think it would work.
Yeah, but they'll never do it because more games is more money and more sponsorship, more broadcast deal.
Every time the broadcasters go, hey, we'll give you more money, but can you really try really hard during this broadcast deal to give us more games to broadcast? That would be really nice.
It's just, it's a shame because it makes the game worse. Having multiple gather rounds, even though I've discussed like the merit of having one for each of the interstate,
just don't do it like you did it this year because it was the opening round. Don't do that was terrible.
The opening round is just... But yeah, it's everything they're doing is making it less and less equal. I'm glad that they fucking pulled their thumb out and didn't change the draft rules this year. That was insane. That was nuts. Even if it wasn't my team as one of the few that would be like getting an advantage from it, or not even advantage, just getting the same as everyone else did. Like, it would be insane if you did that to any club. Can you imagine if St Kilda finally had like 2 father-sons ready to go, and the AFL were like, well, we're changing the rules, St Kilda. You were the ones who wanted this.
They'd have a nightmare. Isn't Owen's the next-gen pick for them, wasn't he? Academy kid?
I don't know. Ross Lyon doesn't know if they have academies.
He doesn't know if they have academies. We do, don't we? Who did I look up today? I made a silly list, a very silly list, because I was bored.
Have you ever made a not silly list?
And I was like, I need to kill some time. My brain's turning off. So I made a list of, when I was a kid, players that I liked the most from each club.
Oh, I don't remember it enough.
And it was a weird list.
Because my opinion changes. I loved Brad Johnson as a kid, but I don't like him now.
Yeah, there was a few like that. But I just tried to go...
I loved Nick Riewoldt as a kid, but I don't like him now.
I just tried to go like as top of the dome as possible and like as early as I could think. So Adelaide Jason Paplesia.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Read his name in the game pull-out pre-season from the West Australian and remembered that he was number 40 from that moment on in my life. I don't think he played a game yet, but he had a weird name and I liked it. Brisbane was Jared Brennan. As a kid, I couldn't understand the ceiling floor issues he had, so I just really enjoyed watching him do crazy shit.
I always liked Ash McGrath because he had a pig nose.
Lance Whitnell for Carlton.
I have mixed feelings about Lance.
Yeah,
Whitnell.
I didn't follow Carlton. I couldn't get those mixed feelings. Giant red-headed dad bod at full forward. Love it. Tarkin Lockyer for Collingwood, and that was purely because one time we were watching the footy and Dad goes, "Hey, he played for Fremantle," and I went, "Oh."
You didn't know that was possible.
That was it. Blake Caracella, Essendon. Sleeves, injuries, class. I don't know. Fremantle, Des Headland. Don't know. He was big and he ran far.
I was like Sean McManus.
Yeah, I like Sean McManus too. This all started because I was thinking about how much I loved Clive Waterhouse and that I was shocked he only played 106 games.
Is there a prerequisite for this list?
No.
Most of mine are Melbourne players.
Mine was one per team.
Melbourne were my honorary second team as
Melbourne.
a kid because they were as shit as my team were.
Geelong's Ronnie Burns.
I don't think I fucking...
I did honorary Gold Coast and GWS ones because I wasn't a kid. I had graduated high school.
Nathan Ablett.
Was Michael Riscatelli and Luke Power. Didn't realise until after I did that they were both Brisbane players. But
They were.
Hawthorn, Mark Williams. Loved the shotgun. Loved the long sun-bleached hair. Adam Uze for Melbourne.
Oh, it's not even
The
my
three-quarter
first
rolled
choice.
sleeves, the black
Russell
gloves.
Robertson's mine.
I did like Russell Robertson
Davey.
and his terrible band.
There's
Yeah,
so
Davey
many
did some-
good
Davey
picks.
did some crazy.
Nathan
Melbourne were
Jones,
really fun
obviously.
to watch with some really bad players, weren't they? North Melbourne was Daniel Harris.
Oh, who's your Port?
Port was Chad Corns.
Oh,
I loved the Chadley.
always Schultz.
Schultz? Oh, I did love a bit of Schultz.
Yeah.
I feel like he was borderline like high school.
I was a kid in high school.
Yeah, okay.
I graduated when I was 16.
Richmond was Joel Bowden. Football's Trevor Chappell. He rushed those behinds, King. You do it. You get elected to the Northern Territory government. St Kilda's Robert Harvey, purely because, and this is like the best player on the list in terms of like quality, but I couldn't lie. When we went to like my first football game as a kid, there was like a badge salesperson at the front, and Dad was like, "Buy any badge you want." And for some reason, I chose Robert Harvey's, and Dad was like, "Why?" Anyway,
he bought it for you?
He bought it for me, yeah.
That's actually pretty nice.
Yeah. Anyway, I had a Robert Harvey badge with like an attachable keychain in my bedroom for years.
I would have told you to get
So like my
fucked.
favourite players as a kid were Peter Riccardi, Roddy Burns, and Robert Harvey. Sydney was Adam Schneider. Big Schneider man guy. Not at St Kilda. Forget about that. Didn't win a flag there. Won a flag at Sydney. And then West Coast, maybe one of the most weird ones on the list is Troy Wilson, the human cannonball.
I don't even remember who Troy Wilson
He
was.
only played like 50 games for West Coast, played a lot for East Perth, but there was a game where Brisbane, it was in 2002, and if they won it, they would have equalled Geelong's longest ever streak of wins in a row. And Dad and I were sitting around the TV cheering for West Coast, and Troy Wilson kicked 5 goals and was just running through the giant Brisbane mids, and it was just very fun to watch. And Bulldogs is Gian Siracusa.
Because he got a fun name.
Because he got a fun name, he was very classy, and he is like the silver fox of the AFL. Like that man, like has
I don't know, Adam
been
Uze
hot his whole life.
In current time has a bit of the silver fox about him.
And like, there's some coaches like have aged into it. Like Uze was a good looking bloke his whole life, but I feel like Chris Scott was a very ordinary looking dude, but then he grew the hair out and got the silver in the beard, and that's a totally different vibe.
It does make a difference.
I feel like Adam Kingsley is another one. Like Adam Kingsley's he's got a bit of silver fox about him. I didn't think that when he was playing. So.
This has been a really weird trip down Jack's memory lane.
Yeah, it was a thing I did, and I mentioned it, and I went too far with it. And here we are.
That sounds like every football thing you do. You make a 58 fucking page spreadsheet, and then Cal Toomey's like, "Ha ha ha, lol, tweet."
fuck Riley Beveridge.
Sorry, wrong one. They're the
And
guy.
I was so mad that Gold Coast lost to West Coast and had to remove them from my fucking finals contenders list because he removed them a week early, and then Collingwood won, so they're still in finals contention. I was very mad.
You got a whiteboard like Daniel Gorringe?
No, I don't.
He's the most embarrassing man on the internet, is he not?
He is. Like,
I love those. He used to do those videos where he would like play a cringe video and then it would just be his face at the end.
that was fun.
But I feel like all of his content
He
now
could
could
do
put
the same,
his face at the end.
Yeah, like I could see him dressed up as a clown on his own podcast, and I could pull that face.
Like him laughing maniacally because Essendon lost to Adelaide, and I'm like, buddy, have you seen your own team?
Fucking Christ.
Have you seen your own team?
Saw, and we knew he was mad at Brisbane when they left him without a retirement game. Mitch Robinson's just like Carlton merch flogging now as well. So he's just clearly left the Brisbane part of his life in his past.
That's so strange. I feel like he did enjoy his time at the club until Mick Malthouse rocked up, which you could say about most players.
Oh, yeah. I think I enjoyed listening to ABC Grandstand until Mick Malthouse rocked up. It's a weird one where I didn't realise I didn't enjoy Ling's commentary until he went from Grandstand to 7. It's just such a different vibe. But Malthouse on Grandstand, is an immediate, I just want this off. I don't want to listen to it.
He doesn't even research. He doesn't know anything about the players.
Before last season started, he was, I can't remember who it was. It was someone for Adelaide. And he's like, and he's a forward, is he? And everyone in the contract was like, yeah, Mick, what are you doing with your life?
He doesn't know their names either.
That man coached 3 premierships. Anyway. But I guess Sheedy coached premierships, and so did Lee Matthews, and they're also way off the deep end.
Lee Matthews says some good stuff sometimes.
Oh, yeah, but he's also insane.
Yeah.
He did think Jaden Shaw was Nathan Broad on Grand Final.
Oh, my God. Did you hear what Michael Voss did around the club this week at Carlton? He said he brought in his number one mentor to the club to inspire people. And he brought in Robert Walls.
Oh, no.
Famous West Coaster going to win the wooden spoon.
In the year they won the flag.
Robert Walls. I'm like, that man's senile.
Not only are West Coast going to finish below Fremantle on the ladder this year, they're going to win the wooden spoon. Flag.
It was
a flag against an MCG tenant. It's still an all-time great flag.
It's the best grand final.
Oh, what genuinely...
I don't care what anyone says about Collingwood Brisbane. That's a different game.
We had very different vibes, because you watched that in a house full of West Coast fans and had contagious energy. I watched it in a house full of Freo fans and really enjoyed the fact that I was the one that tipped West Coast.
I tipped Collingwood to win. I was mad I didn't win my potluck because I tipped them by 3. So I was close.
So she just ruined your life.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
Because it was worth it. It's the best passage of play in a grand final.
It was just awesome.
I know you're a toe poke guy, but it's the best passage of play in a grand final.
But all of it, the crunch from Ryan,
it's all good.
Nathan Vardy link up on the wing is the weirdest person to be involved in a premiership winning chain.
Brayden Maynard fucking shitting his pants on the spot.
It's so funny because I made some jokes about Brad Close this week because he definitely blocked when Jeremy Cameron took those marks.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Especially the first one. But I genuinely still think Rioli was shaping to mark that ball and didn't expect Sheed to come flying across in front of what he thought was just a wrestle between him and Maynard. There's a difference between a block and being surprised someone else marked the ball.
It's not a block if someone charges out in front of you.
No.
What Jeremy Cameron did on the weekend at the end of the game.
That one wasn't a block. The first one...
Yeah, but he just came across the front. No one expected him to mark that. Would you pay a block because the player behind...
Exactly. And that second one, I was like, I don't think that's a block from close. That first one, though, very clearly a block. But yeah, that was... Great passage of play. Just an all-time awesome game of footy. All game after quarter time, it felt like West Coast were getting back, but every time they got close enough, Collingwood kicked one.
Every time I've gotten together with the family to watch the grand final since that one, because my cousin's a West Coast supporter, so I feel like we used all the energy for her that time. Every grand final I've watched with them since, dog shit. We watched GWS Richmond together, and we watched Richmond Geelong together, and then the rest I've watched
Richmond
with you.
Geelong was a really good grand final, though. Not
if you don't want Richmond to fucking blast them, but every other one I've watched with you has been better. So, I did
tweet out the other day, my personal account, but just being like, Dustin Martin is the reason my dad lost an eye. No, I will not elaborate.
I can elaborate.
If Dustin Martin didn't go...
Dustin Martin...
Beast mode.
Kicked 3 goals in that grand final.
Four goals.
4 goals, sorry. Flew over to Perth, drove down, handed your dad a bottle of Chivas Regal, and then a few things happen and his eye comes out.
I'm now suspicious that what happened was Dusty snuck in with some chopsticks and just got him in the eye. But no, genuinely, if that game doesn't go that way, we probably don't go back to Dad's and drink until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Anyway. Dusty cost Dad an eye.
Grand finals do weird things to people. Don't drink gin after you watch a grand final with a result you don't like. That's just
Gin.
Oh, that's a me one.
Oh, you drank gin? Oh, okay. Don't drink gin. That's my recommendation.
Yeah.
Just like at the top of the list.
So that's the first and last time I've ever drunk gin.
I didn't realise, like, it's one of those things where, like, your body has a reaction to something because you know something bad happened. I didn't realise I was going to have that with scotch until we went to Albany. And we went to that distillery and they brought out all the different whiskies and I went, I drink these, I will throw up. And that was the first time I tried to drink whiskey since
I think
Dad lost his eye.
I think if I had a shot of gin right now, I would puke.
Yeah, so... anyway, thank you, Dusty, for my dad not having an eye, and thank you, Tom Hawkins, for being good at football.
And shout out to Andrew Gaff for existing.
Shout out to Andrew Gaff for missing that grand final.
Actually, quick side note, we are going to wrap up the podcast. I'm done with this dog shit. Did you see Matthew Nix's comments about Taylor Walker in the media?
No.
So he said, when it's time for Taylor Walker to retire... We will talk about it.
Not it's time.
He'll say, I'm not saying it is time, but when it is time, we'll tap him on the shoulder and we'll make sure he's had a great career. And then they said, will it be this week? And he said, we're not sure. Or something like that. Makes it sound like he's going to retire this week because they don't have another home game after this. If they don't retire him this week,
are they the same as like Gold Coast have the multiple aways?
Yeah, they've got... there's no game in Adelaide for the last round.
Showdown. It's a Port Showdown, isn't it?
So it's a Port Showdown. So unless you retire him in a Port Showdown... Or he goes
he's not
on
retiring.
He's
He's playing at Collingwood next year.
It sounds like he's retiring.
I think he should. He's very slow now.
Yeah, he's
like
definitely...
he is 1 year away from being Hawkins this year. Like
Hawkins should have retired last year.
Hawkins should have retired last year. Like key forwards really just hit that wall.
Yeah.
Useless AFL stats posted, and it was really funny because I was thinking
He
about...
kicked 70 goals last year, didn't he? And he's kicked, what, like 20 this year?
Yeah. I was thinking about doing it, but Useless AFL stats posted a...
Usain Bolt stats.
20 Useless AFL stats posted a 23 over 32 to like counteract it.
Oh yeah.
And I was looking at that forward line and I was like,
who would win, the 22 under 22 or the?
Oh, the 22 under 22. Like the back line and the midfield for the 32 teams are alright, but Walker, Dixon, Hawkins forward line is.
You can win with a shit forward line.
It's tough. But Bruce is good.
Walker Dixon is not.
Walker
good.
Dixon Hawkins is not good. That's that's laborious.
You could sub one for Casbolt. I would take Casbolt in that team over Dixon.
I looked at that back line and I went, Liam Jones, Steve Matt's a handy back line. And I looked at the forward line and went, that's grim. That's really grim.
You swap Dixon out for Casbolt.
Yeah.
Hawkins without a foot injury.
Yeah. Yeah, Hawkins was like, he still had some goal assists this year. Kept that tally up.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm just quickly fact checking to make sure I didn't sell Taylor Walker short.
I think it was like 71 last year, so I think that was about right.
It only tells me his average goals.
What are you looking at?
AFL.
AFL, that's useless.
It's fucking shocking.
He's got to go to... you just got to go to the goals section, not the him section. Then you have to scroll down, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I don't know how low he is.
Well, I'll go down to like the 20s
by
area.
Adelaide team.
He's 26 goals.
That was close.
He's behind Rankin, who's missed most of the year.
Rochelle.
Keys
has kicked almost 30
goals.
He's
kicked more goals than Rochelle?
That's crazy.
He did have like 2 bags.
Goated.
Like, he's kicked like 2 5s.
Goated.
Hate
that motherfucker.
So Hogan 2 goals on top, but they have a much harder run home than Carlton.
St Kilda love to double team Charlie Curnow, so I can't expect the last round to be a Curnow goal fest.
Jake Waterman to just sneak home.
No
he only needs to catch up by 10 goals. That's like another one. Like the Coaches Award, I think they stopped giving the votes this week or next week.
Oh no! How will I figure out who I'm voting for in the?
I mean, he gave a lot of votes before he didn't get coaches' votes this week. So
I stopped looking at them because they're useless.
They are useless.
They give so many votes to midfielders.
And then, like, when they give them to defenders, it's never the best one.
No.
Anyway, there's only a few players. There's only 9 players who can mathematically win the Coaches Award from here.
Yes, me.
And probably only, like, 4 that can actually win it. So it's...
Heaney.
Amazing that Dacos is still in first. Cripps is in second, chasing very quickly. Heaney can still win it, but the way he's going, I don't think he will. Sarong is a very good chance.
Yeah.
Neil is only just behind there as well, but he's 10 off the top, which is 3 weeks. There's a lot of votes to make up. Bontempelli is 16 off the top.
Okay, so Bontempelli's the lowest then.
And then, so Goulden, Treloar and Merritt can win it, but they would need to get like 10, 10, 10.
No. Not happening.
And for Dacos to not get any. And like Dacos does have 3 tag happy teams coming up, so likely he will cop a tag. But Cripps is probably going to get those votes if Dacos doesn't.
You'd assume so based on their form.
Yeah. Cripps is in insane form. Was best on ground by a mile in a loss on the weekend. Again.
Yeah.
He's a fucking hell of a footballer. On those, what was it, the Jonathan Brown intro? And he carry the Blues to finals on those big country farmer shoulders.
One of the worst promos of all time.
Terrible, yeah.
And we didn't make finals that year.
Yeah. Brownie probably doesn't even remember that many concussions. Hell of a mark of the year to get that concussion, though, wasn't it? That was what a grab. Anyway, this has been The Back Pocket. You can find us at The Back Pocket AU. I only post on Twitter. The Facebook and Instagram is just episode notifications. That's it.
That's a big sniff.
What?
You're off to France with the
I'm off to France. I've been hanging out with Clary.
They call it the Hockey Ruse or that?
No, it's, I don't know which one's the Hockey Ruse. I think the Hockey Ruse is the not Olympics one. I think at the Olympics they're the Ollie Ruse.
Oh, that's terrible.
And then
they don't even skateboard.
The women, or the women are the Ollie Roos and the men are the Kookaburras. Either way, we have too many names for our sporting teams. It's confusing.
Olympics are cool. That's
it. I love the Olympics. We won skateboarding gold and it was dope. Did you watch his run?
Twice. I did. That fucking it was good.
Also, he's so young. He's won 2 golds and he's 21
I didn't
years old.
realise he was that young.
I heard him talking on the radio. I was like, that's a squeaky ass voice for someone who's been to an Olympics already. And I was like, oh, he's 21.
Yep. Those skateboarders do it young.
Enjoy football this weekend. We might not.
Nah, probably not.
I'm going to be there and just jump off the top tier.